have the most racially diverse cabinet in our history. Well, that's hardly the result of systematic racism, is it?
To be honest, when you're looking at systematic racism, it's such a distraction to look at individual. You can say, oh, there's no systematic racism because that footballer gets loads of money, or there's no sexism because Margaret Thatcher's a woman. It's a silly argument, I'm afraid, that takes us away from actually discussing what we should be discussing, which is fixing the inequalities that have always been there, but COVID shone a massive light on it, and now what's happening in America has really brought it to the forefront as well. We've got an incredible moment. We've got such an opportunity, and it's really important that we don't let this just be yet another flash in the pan.
Indeed, but that argument that came up about the most racially diverse cabinet comes on the back of what the Equalities Minister, Kemi Badenoch, said about the UK as being one of the best places in the world to be black. What do you think?
Again, and I'm sorry to sound, cynical or whatever, but it's such a pointless thing to say. The rapper Dave, I think wisely said it's not a competition. It's not about. The least racist is still racist. It's not, comparing one country to another is pointless. There are massive problems in Britain. I'm glad the EHRC is doing this investigation, but we have had so many reports that show in every aspect of life, that there's still massive discrimination in Britain. So to say, oh, but we've got a diverse cabinet, or, we don't get killed, on the streets by police as often as they do in America, therefore it's great to be black in Britain, is just really... I would hope she would engage with the conversation a bit better than that. That's a flippant and silly thing to say. Well,
on the back of what you said also about that inquiry as well, the HRC, I mean, what hopes do you have for it?
You've always got to enter into things positively. So I'm glad this is happening. It should have happened ages ago, clearly. I'm worried that it ends up just being another report that says stuff that we all know, just like the Public Health England report did. It didn't really tell us anything new. This report has to come out with recommendations. They have to have teeth, and they have to be enacted. We have to actually move forward, rather than just have another another report that just tells us stuff that we know. So I want to be positive. History makes me a slight bit sceptical, that's all.
Working on the positive line though, Maurice, if we can, what will help change this? I mean, can it be government-led, or does this change need to come from the bottom up, or a joined-up policy?
It needs to be everything. Yes, of course, the government sets laws, so what happens in the government really matters. What happens on a local authority level really matters. But the change comes from the ground up. The idea is one of the issues, I think, certainly with the black community, but with loads of marginalised communities, is that things happen to them. Politics is something that happens down on top of them. For once, it would be wonderful if the streets feel like they're talking. Let's listen to them. That's how we get there.
Well, you heard the Health Secretary, or you might have heard the Health Secretary in the clip there, saying about protests, saying no more protests over 6 people. Other people are saying, as you said, sort of, while the iron is hot, then seize it and all the rest of it. But what about the ramifications if, after the protests, there is a spike in the coronavirus, which means that there's more lockdown, which affects the economies, which affects the ethnic minorities, which means there's an even bigger rebound on the people who were on the protests in the first place? Would it all have been worth it?
It's bigger than an effect on the economy. It's our communities that are dying disproportionately from this. So I certainly don't take anything that risks raising the epidemic level again lightly at all. Having said that, socially distant, responsible, peaceful demonstrations. Absolutely. This is a really important political moment for so many young people out there as well, finally feeling that that change can happen. To be honest, it's more important than lazing around on a beach. It's more important than getting football back. It's more important than any of those sorts of things. So yes, of course, people need to be responsible, but I don't think the health secretary is the sort of person who should be telling people that they can't demonstrate.
And finally then, Maurice, for non-ethnic minority communities, what's a message to take away to help better understand what minorities go through?
You know what? It feels like this is going through. I, throughout my life, have had conversations with people, and it's always super awkward, and people feel defensive. If we can get beyond that, if we can get beyond, oh my God, they're calling me names, they think I'm racist, get beyond that and get beyond fear of not knowing. Do you know what I mean? Ask questions, but come into it with a genuine. Yeah, you know, I've got all the time in the world for people coming to me with genuine inquiries or genuinely trying to work out how we get to a fairer place. And it feels like, I hope it feels like, for once, people are listening and not going, oh, here we go, race again. They're actually paying attention. I'm cautiously optimistic.